Good day and welcome to today's broadcast. Today, I want us to look at a new program that we have designed, which is titled 10X Wealth Leadership Bootcamp. Today, we're going to go deep into this program and we're going to examine three important concepts from this program. And the vision is that you listen to these concepts, but beyond listening to these concepts, is to put yourself in that position of strength to be able to take informed action to apply these information to your life. Remember, it is not enough to have knowledge. It's equally and more important to apply that knowledge to achieve desired results. At Global Capital Inc., our vision is largely about helping you to achieve desired results. And we are targeting the business community, we're targeting the average individual, and we are targeting government agencies with these programs that we have designed to help people experience larger than life success. In the event that you're joining me for the first time, my name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the multiple best-selling author for several books, including Manager's Toolkit and Billionaire Codes. Now, in 2021, I will be launching my new book, which is titled 10X Branding and Marketing, The Psychology of Doing Business. This is a beautiful book. If you're in business and you want to know how to up-level your brand, this is the book for you. It talks a lot about brand traits optimization, brand visibility optimization, brand reach optimization, brand impact optimization, and so much more. Now, today, and I will share a screen with you, I want us to look at this new program that we have designed. It's all about helping you to understand how to 10x your business and personal income. And we'll look at some of those contents today. Now, what I want us to look at today, and I trust that you can see the screen, we are looking at one of the unique programs that we have designed, which is we will talk a lot about the love language and the leadership language. So today, the table of content that we're going to be looking at today are as follows in this program. We will examine what is better known as the wealth love language. We will examine what is the leadership love language, and these are things that you really need to take the time out to understand. And we will also talk about the income audit analytics. This is the three heading on the 10X Wealth Leadership Program that we will look at today. Now, let's go deeper into the wealth love languages. And there's two areas of that we're going to look at. We're going to look at the wealth love language and leadership love language. Now, what exactly comes to mind when you hear the term love language? Now, in our program, we introduced the love language, and there's three important things about the wealth love language that we want you to take away. Three important concepts. Concept one is to understand what is the DCM. The DCM meaning the debt capital market. It's absolutely necessary for you to understand this when you are trying to position either your business, your personal life, or government agencies to understand the debt capital market. Not only from the perspective of a borrower, but from the perspective of policy framework and so forth. We're not going to get into policies. We're just going to be looking at how some of these institutions function and operates, and to ask ourselves if it brings an advantage or disadvantages to the beneficiaries. The second thing that is important for you to understand is the ECM, which is the equity capital market. Now, there is a major difference between the DCM and the ECM. When you are going to the DCM as a borrower, you are saddled with something that we call uh, principal and interest. The sum that is borrowed is called the principal. The cost of the debt is called the interest. The ECM is different. You're not paying the principal, you're not paying the interest, you're paying dividends. And there's also what is called the smart capital market. It's absolutely important to understand the smart capital market, largely based on the fact that we have heard many businesses and we heard many people all across the world continue to complain that it's hard to raise capital, hard to raise capital to do business, it's hard to raise capital to live the life of your dream. My word is to use that if you understand the system well enough and you're able to combine the wealth love languages with the leadership love language, you will be able to accomplish so much more for yourself. So let's look now at what is known as the leadership love language. Again, there is a number of important concepts for you to take away here. One, we talk about the art of thinking ahead. You would have heard me refer to this as leadership and the process of thinking ahead. We will also be looking at the art of seeing beyond problems. You would have heard me refer to this as leadership, wealth leadership, and the process of seeing beyond problems. And the last one you would have heard me talk about the art of informed action. And you would have heard me talk about this from the perspective of wealth leadership and the process of informed action. Now, what exactly does these two terms mean? It's absolutely necessary that you take the time to understand what is being said by this term, the art of thinking ahead. When it comes to wealth creation, what exactly are you thinking ahead about? When I go to the next slide, you would see a range of different things that you must put yourself in a position of strength to think ahead about. But let's examine what each of these terminology means. Now, the art of thinking ahead is the application of your creative thinking ability. It is the application of your creative thinking ability that allows you to see the beginning, the end, and the in-between of a given process. I know that sounds almost impossible, right? I could recall many years ago when I was rolling out an element of this program, I told a student that it's important for you to put yourself in the position of trying to think ahead, see beyond problems, and take informed action to achieve desired results. And in this regard, I pointed out that the application of the art of thinking ahead is largely about the application of your creative thinking ability that allows you to see the beginning, the end, and the in-between of a given process. That sounds difficult to see the beginning, to see the end, and to see the in-between of a given process. The example that I want to give here is that when you're attempting to develop your financial independence game plan, you have to put yourself in that position of trying to think like a builder, a home builder, a contractor, an engineer. Now, a professional contractor and a professional engineer, they don't start working unless they have the blueprint, meaning that you must have the builder's plan drawing. And the builder's plan drawing, it is literally what allows you to see the beginning and the end of the project. Some of the in between may be blurred, but it definitely allows you to see the beginning and the end of a given process, meaning that you can look at your builder's plan drawing and you could draw exactly what is the outcome that you want. The same principle applies to you when you're developing your financial master plan. when you are attempting to put yourself in that position of strength to build massive amount of wealth for yourself. And this is one of the reasons why we say it is important to understand the wealth love language, because every single attempt that you're going to be taking to build up wealth for yourself, it will bring you right back to a clearer understanding of not only the physical structures of the wealth love language, but the applications and the different opportunities that exist within these platforms. Now, in many cases, you don't know it. So, because you don't know it, you cannot make an informed and educated decision. So, it is tough for you to be able to see the beginning and see the end and see the in between. And this is why we have over 80% of the global population live with their dreams and hopes and aspirations and never come to that point of actually realizing them. You don't know exactly what steps to take. You cannot take informed action. And instead of getting the professional on your side to advise you, to mentor, coach, and support you, you decide to remain by yourself. We're going to talk about that more just now. So, the application of your creative thinking ability must be applied to building wealth. And that means that you must put yourself in a position of strength to see the beginning. And that clearly means that if you say that you want to become a millionaire in 5 to 10 years, you must clearly identify what is your financial freedom figure. And so that means you have a clear mental picture of what you want to accomplish. And the end, you're selling yourself within 5 to 10 years. You have to be precise about these things. Now, the in between represents the time that you're going to take to build out the adequate knowledge, the time you're going to take to build the right relationships, the time you're going to take to be mentored and coached by the right people. All of these things represent the in between. And your success in making informed and educated decision in the in between, it is what can ultimately influence the end results. In most cases, the wealthy people, the wealthiest people in the world, they're not making, they're not acting me, myself, and I. They're acting with collective interest. And later on, we're going to get into that. So I trust that I spent enough time on the first concept in terms of looking at the leadership love language. It's about the you being able to apply the art of thinking ahead. Now, when we talk of thinking ahead again, what exactly are we talking about? The art and process of thinking ahead must be applied to your emergency account. You must have an emergency account. It must be applied to a smart investment account. It must be applied to, children, college funds, higher education, early retirement. There's a whole lot more that can be uh, tabled under this heading, and you must put yourself in a position of strength with all of them to be able to think ahead. You don't wait until your children are ready to go to college and then you start thinking about it. You don't wait until you reach that stage to retire to then start thinking about your early retirement funds. You don't wait until you're in a pandemic, man-made or natural disaster, and then you start thinking, I wish I had an emergency savings account. These are important things that you must put yourself in a position of strength to be able to think ahead about. All right. So I trust that I gave you enough nuggets here. Now, the second concept, which we call the leadership love language, we are talking here now about the art of seeing beyond problems. Now, here is where people become stuck. I've seen hundreds of thousands and millions of people across the world who become stuck exactly here. You have a vision of what you want to accomplish, but then you end up seeing all of the challenges and towards achieving that dreams and hopes and aspiration that you have for yourself. And because you're seeing the barriers, you allow the barriers to put you in a position of strength where you are not taking, the kind of action to achieve desired results. So let's talk a little bit about what is the art of seeing beyond problems. How do you begin to put yourself in that position of strength to start seeing beyond problems? Now, The art of seeing beyond problems is the application of the art of seeing beyond problems. It begins with knowing. It begins, sorry, with seeing, knowing, and owning your social and economic responsibility. Let me go back at this. It begins with seeing, knowing, and owning your social and economic responsibility. Absolutely necessary for you to put yourself in that position of strength to understand it. But what exactly do I mean by seeing? This is the application of seeing. Now, many of you would agree that you can see this book, but you can also agree that you do not know the content that is written in this book. And because you do not know the content that is written in this book, you cannot own the information that is written in this book. To be able to go beyond the problem, you have to commit the time, talent, and the resources to understand the problem. You must commit the time, talent, and resources to, really know the problem. First of all, you want to see what are the problems that, is in front of you. You want to commit the time to know those problems. And then you commit the time to own it. To own it means that you have made a conscious decision. You made a conscious decision that you are not going to get involved in any blame game. You're going to take ownership for your actions and your inactions as it relates to the steps that you're going to be taking to achieve your financial independence. You are not going to shift the blame. You will take full ownership for this. And this is what we call seeing, knowing, owning. Is owning up to your social and economic responsibilities. You owe it to yourself to take ownership over your life. We go deeper into this, and that is to really help you to understand the practical tools and the practical steps that you can take to put yourself in that position of strength to see, to know, to own the challenges that you're going to be faced with. In this program, we talk a lot about setting objective and planning. We talk a lot about organizing resources to achieve the objective. We talk a lot about, communicating with and motivating your team. We talk about organizing resources to achieve the objective. We talk about monitoring and controlling performance towards the objective that you want to accomplish. And all of this helps you to put yourself in that position of strength to be able to see beyond the problems. Last but not least, we also look at the art of informed action. This is something that, again, you want to put yourself in that position of strength to take informed action. I always also emphasize that there's a major difference between action and informed action. There's so many people in the world today that are taking action that does not give you the desired results. The action are not giving you desired results because in most cases, you are not fully familiar with what you're doing. You know what you want to achieve, but the steps that you are taking to achieve the things that you want to achieve, you are not certain if they're going to get you there, but you are taking action. To be able to take informed action, it's what can make a big difference. And there's a smart way that you could put yourself in that position of strength to take informed action. Let's examine this a little bit more. The application of your relationship mastery system. Now, what is this talking about? It is important for you to develop your relationship mastery game plan. I always say that relationships is the model of all social systems. You will rise or fall based on relationships, the quality relationships that you have with the right people. Your success ultimately depends on this. So if you're not invested in building healthy, productive relationship with the right people, this is the time to do it. And again, when you come into the boot camp, we will help you to identify clear systems, step step-by-step systems, strategic game plans that will help you to be able to master that entire process of being able to build quality relationships with the right people to help you to achieve your targets in life. We talk here a lot about investing and building relationships again with the right people. It is something that you must invest in. You must invest your time, your talent, and your resources to be able to build the relationships with the right people. So I trust that you clearly understand these two concepts, which we call the wealth love language. And the wealth love language is to understand the DCM, the debt capital market, the ECM, the equity capital market, and the SCM, the smart capital market. You want to understand this. If you want to position yourself to build wealth, generational wealth and intergenerational wealth, it's important for you to understand this. It requires you to take the time out and commit to understanding this. If you don't want to commit the time to understand this, get a PFA, get a personal financial advisor or a professional financial advisor. And the team at Global Capital Inc. will be happy to engage with you to put you on the right track when it comes to uh, taking the first step, taking the right step that will allow you to achieve financial independence within 5 to 10 years. So we also talk about the leadership love language, as you must put yourself in that position of strength to become a great leader. You want to be the leader that thinks ahead. You don't want to wait until your children are ready to go to college and now you start thinking ahead. You don't wait until a pandemic strikes and now you start thinking ahead. That's bad leadership. So you want to put yourself in a position of strength where you can master this entire process we call thinking ahead. The second is seeing beyond problems. Don't allow the problems to hold you back. Problems is a part of life. Get used to it, embrace it, but push forward and ensure that you are taking ownership of that problem and taking ownership over your life. And you give your life superiority and dominance over the problems that you're going to be faced in life. You have to fight for the things that you want to achieve in life, like if your life depends on it. This is your life. You have one life to live, and you can't live it making excuse. You can't live it being in sorrow. You can't live it being in regret. You're better than all of that. With the right information, with the right mentor, the right coach, the right support system on your side, you will be able to rise way above your challenges. That's what great leaders do. And this is why you need to understand these leadership love languages. The third concept is inform action, the art of inform action. You want to put yourself in that position of strength where you can take informed action. If you don't know it, ensure that you build a relationship with the right people that can help you to make better decisions, that can help you to make the right decision, the right decision that is going to position you to attain wealth. Because in this program, we're talking about wealth leadership. Wealth leadership is all about having that wealth mindset. There's some people that have a limited mindset. They have they're thinking lack, limitation, doubts, and fear. So if you're thinking lack, limitation, doubts, and fear, you cannot produce abundance because you cancel out your potential to achieve abundance because you're thinking in lack, limitation, doubts, and fear. You want to remove yourself from lack, remove yourself from limitation, and remove yourself from fear. You have the potential to achieve greatness. This is not a motivational conversation, but this is the absolute truth. You have the potential to achieve greatness if you believe in it. So as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. But you can't, want to embrace lack, limitation, doubts, and fear as your dominant thoughts and want abundance to be your reality. It will never happen like that. It will never happen like that. So it is time that you take the time out to get a mentor, to get a coach, to get a wealth consultant, that get a PFA that can really help you to understand. A PFA is a professional financial advisor, personal financial advisor that can really help you to make informed and educated decisions. Absolutely necessary. Some technical things that we're going to get into, and questions that we want to ask you, we want you to ask yourself. Does it make sense to, which one is the smarter decision? And you want to know this. Do you save $7-8 million and throw it all towards your college education? Or do you save $7-8 million and flip it into performing assets? Performing assets is going to give you daily, weekly, and monthly cash flow, and it's going to give you asset appreciation. And because it's going to give you daily, weekly, monthly cash flow, asset appreciation is going to give you enough money to pay for your college education. So which one do you do? Do you put the horse in front of the cart, or do you put the cart in front of the horse? These are important information that you want to empower yourself to make these highly informed and educated decisions when it comes to your education and when it comes to creating wealth. You want to put yourself in this position of strength to know this. Now let's come to the next slide. The next slide, we're going to be doing the income audit, and there's a number of important lessons and concepts here that I want us to look at. There's 5 important concepts here. There's one that we call your income, your monthly income. You want to know your monthly income. In fact, you know your monthly income. But in looking at your monthly income, you want to be able to do your income analytics. What is the strengths and weaknesses of your monthly income? I immediately want you to stop and think about that. What is the strengths and weaknesses of your monthly income when it is measured against your future plans? What is your future plans? We talked about some of that early on. You want to children college fund. You want to invest in higher education. You want to look at early retirement. You want an emergency savings account. How does your monthly income stand up against all of this? Now let's do a little examination of your expenditure, monthly expenditure. We will go through this examination now. We look at your income versus your expenditure versus your balance sheet versus your future plans, and your future plan versus smart investment strategies. Now, these are the 2 that you will never ever look at when you're doing your income analysis. You just do your income analysis, you look at your income, your expenditure, and your balance sheet. You hardly ever look at your future plans, and you hardly ever look at smart investment strategies, which is the solution to some of the weaknesses that we are likely to point out here shortly. Now let's go through this quickly. Let's go to expenditure. First thing that is going to show up here is your rent, your monthly expenditure. And this is in Caribbean terms. I'm not talking here to the American population, because I know rent in America is much higher than $45,000, which is about $225 US. Now, your rent is approximately $225 US. Your light is about $30 US or 6,000 Guyana dollars. Your water is about $10 or $2,000. The internet bill again is about $30 or 6,000 GYD. And transportation is likely to be about $12,000 or roughly 60 USD. And food, to get food on the table, is going to be roughly about 325 US or 65,000 GYD. Now, when you add this total up here, it gives you a sum total of $130,000, and your monthly income is a meager $100,000 or 500 USD. Yes, in the Caribbean, there are many persons that are working for this. In fact, there are many persons that are working for less than this. But this is the reality. So what this is showing is that at the end of the day, instead of you having a positive um, balance sheet, you have a negative balance sheet, and you have a negative balance of about $30,000, or what we're going to call 150 USD. You're in the negative here. Now, because you're in the negative here, it's going to affect your entire future plans. The reality is this, based on the research that we are doing, we are seeing people who can look at their income, look at their expenditure, look at their balance sheet, and see that they're in the negative. But in spite of the fact that you are seeing that you're in a negative, you are not putting yourself in that position of strength to take empowered action to rise above this. The strangest and saddest thing about all of this is that most persons stay here for their entire life, for a lifetime. If something magical doesn't happen, if, some, natural force of nature doesn't present itself and, work in their favor, it doesn't happen. And that doesn't happen because of the fact that you are not taking ownership over your life. Remember, we talk about the leadership love language. The leadership love language means that you must put yourself in a position of strength to think ahead, to see beyond problems. This is a problem, and to take informed action to achieve desired results. So you're not seeing beyond the problem, and you're not taking informed action to achieve the desired results, which will come to us now, all of your future plans. You have plans of owning your own home. Everyone that I've talked to, they have plans and dreams of owning their own home. It's not unreasonable to want to put yourself in that position of strength to own your own home. You're entitled to this. You work hard, you studied, you commit time, talent, and resources, to do things, and you want to be in the comfort of your own home. You're entitled to that. You also want to own your own car, so you don't necessarily have to wait a long time for, transportation to come your way, or you may have multiple, children that you want to get to school. You can use your vehicle and you can quickly do that, and perhaps bring down the cost of, you know, a vehicle taking your children to, different points. You're entitled to all of this. You want to invest in higher education, and you want to invest in the right education and higher education. You can never compromise on exposing yourself to learning. You must be the kind of person that wants to commit to lifelong learning. But you must also ensure that you get in the right education. All right, the right education. And I would normally say that it seems as though the global education system has failed. And I make that point largely based on the fact that we have highly educated people who are poor, and we have highly educated people that are working paycheck to paycheck. This is not a supposition. When the United States federal government shut down in the late 2018, we had over 800,000 federal workers who were concerned about their next paycheck. And these are people that had their mortgage to take care of, their student loans to take care of, their children college funds, and they had money to put on monies to put food on the table. They were worried, highly educated people. So the people that are working paycheck to paycheck, the people that mostly have a negative bank balance, there's just a limited amount to save. They're not, uneducated people. Yes, the majority might be, but we also have highly educated people who are also on this list. Our vision is to speak to it loud enough and to provide a content of information that will help people to come off of this. Now, what else do you have as your future plans? You have your children college fund. You want to take your children, make sure your children get exposure to the best education. All right. And what exactly, again, is the best education? In most cases, we say go to school, get a good education, and get a good job. Does getting a good job take you off of the paycheck to paycheck cycle? That's a subject for us to talk about. For over 80% of the global workforce, it is not getting them off of the paycheck to paycheck cycle. So, while it's going to be important for you to understand the traditional education system, you need to invest to understand financial intelligence. Start associating yourself with PFAs, professional financial advisors, and personal financial advisors that can really help you to help your kids to understand financial languages. All right. It's important that you do that. The best thing that you can do for your kids and for yourself is to ensure that you're invested not only in the traditional education system. The traditional education system has tremendous, benefits, but it also has some inherited weaknesses, and the weaknesses shows up when I do the assessment of the impact, the socioeconomic impact that is having on human lives. The content may be good, but when I assess the socioeconomic impact that education, global education is having on the average individual, it leaves so much more to be desired. What else is on your future plans? Emergency savings account, but with a negative balance of, 150 USD, 30,000 GYD, you can't save. You just can't save. So pandemic is going to come and go and you're going to be in a crisis. If you can't save, you have to start figuring out. There always a way that you can navigate this entire process. There's always a way. And at Global Capital Inc., we have a team of professional financial advisors. We have a team of economists. We have a team of certified public accountant. We have a team of um, venture capitalists, private equity investors, who are here, to give you advice. And our talents are drawn from all over the world. We have partners in the Bahamas, we have partners in North America, we have some in the Philippines and other parts of the world who, over a period of time, will be communicating critical information to you that will help you to make informed and educated decisions as to how you navigate this platform. Now, smart savers account. Again, with a negative balance, you can't save. You can't save. And that's bad. It's absolutely bad. And none of your future plan you're going to be able to achieve it. For the majority of people, they're not going to be able to achieve it. In my experience with these programs, I've interfaced with people that would say to you that when they were 30, they wasn't able to reach the pre-qualification in terms of accessing, debt financing. But now that they're 47, they were able to save up some amount of money and they have the 10% plus legal fee and some other cash flow to play around. But guess what? Now that they have reached 47, 48, 49, and they have that disposable income, they are still not in a position of strength because I would normally say age do matters when it comes to accessing debt or capital from the debt capital market. These are some of the things that you want to start thinking about them early. And perhaps if you could not have helped it, again, working with your professional PFA, professional financial advisor, your personal financial advisor, they will be able to identify things that you cannot see because they are trained in this field. They have experience in this field that can literally help you navigate this platform. Early retirement. You also want to deal with early retirement. Are you aware that the majority of people in this world You start to work very early in life. You spend about 49 years of your life in the workforce. And after 49 years in the workforce, and you ask yourself, what do I have to show for this? Many of you, you have regrets. You reach the age of retirement. You don't have your own home. You might barely have a car, not the car of your dream. You don't have the highest education. Your children, you haven't been able to invest in your children's college fund because life has been a struggle. You still don't have an emergency savings account. You still don't have a smart, savers and investment account. And you're at the age of retirement. So at the age of retirement, you can't think at this stage about early retirement because it's already late. These are things that you want to put yourself in a position of strength to start thinking about these things early. It's not just about just thinking about these things. You also want to put yourself in a position of strength to take informed action to ensure that you can make these things manifest. So as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. You want to take informed action when it comes to your life. You don't gamble with your life. You don't gamble with your family life. When you take on manhood and husbandhood and fatherhood, you have a tremendous responsibility to yourself, to your spouse, to your children, to your loved ones. You have a tremendous responsibility, and this is a responsibility that you want to take extremely serious. All right, extremely serious. So commit the time to understand what we call the wealth love language and the leadership love language. Reach out to us in the event that you need more information, in the event that you need, a one-on-one session to, work your scenarios out, to put yourself in that position of strength moving forward, to rise above these challenges. Take the first step. Remember, knowledge is power. But the application of your knowledge, of that knowledge, is where you can get your superpower. And you owe it to yourself to take the step, the first step, the right step to start activating your superpower. Good. When last have you thought about an all-inclusive family tour? You can't think about this. You just can't think about it because you have a negative bank balance. Don't you think that you owe it to yourself to, once in your lifetime to travel around the world with you and your loved ones and see some of the special places in the world? You owe it to yourself. You're special too. All right. But because you're special, you have to put yourself in that position of strength to start seeing yourself special and start taking those special actions that will truly empower you to not only feel and know, but experience how special you are. Now, smart investment strategy. One of the first things that I want to say to you here is it's important for you to invest in a PFA, a professional financial advisor, a personal financial advisor. And I'm saying to you, the right PFA, they can reduce your stress level. You know what stress does? Stress gives you a heart attack. Stress carries up your blood pressure. Stress kills. And the reality, I'm certain about this, we have over 50% of the global population that lives under some form of stress. In the United States of America, we have over 110 million persons that live with stress. You know what else? You have 110 million persons that die every single year from stress. This is no fluff, this is no gaff, this is the reality. Stress kills. The lack of finance is one of the factors for stress. The inability to live up to your future plans is a foundation for stress. The inability to fulfill the dreams for your loved ones can be stressful, particularly if you're the kind of mom or dad that truly cares for your loved ones. It causes stress. And there is another way. You don't have to live in stress. You can divorce yourself from stress by ensuring that you get a PFA. Invest in a PFA that can give you the right information to make informed and educated decisions about your life. You want to learn more about how to leverage the DCM. We talk about this. You can leverage the DCM not to create bad debt. Many of you, when you go to the DCM, you go in and create bad debt. There's a major difference between bad debt and good debt. Do you know the difference between them? You have to commit to learn this. Your PFA will help you to understand this. You want to invest time to, learn how to leverage the ECM, the equity capital market. As a business, an entrepreneur, these are all platforms that you can use. There are a lot of creative financing that could be, had when you understand the ECM. One quick example, you can build a product, you can build a service, you can build a brand and position it out there, attract the right MPEs, allow it to go all the way up to into IPO status and LBO status, leverage buyout, and that buyout make you instant rich. That kind of wealth can last you for generations and generations to come. You want to put yourself in a position of starting to understand these markets. All right, this is a serious platform. If you're taking yourself serious, you need to invest the time to understand this. All right, you need to invest time to understand the SCM, Smart Capital Market. We talk about this at the beginning. These three represent the wealth love language. You need to fall in love with these things. The language of speaking wealth. You need to fall in love with it. It's a language. You need to fall in love with this language. Ensure that you commit the time, talent, and resources to understand the wealth love language, the DCM, the ECM, and the SCM, the debt capital market, the equity capital market, and the smart capital market. There's tremendous amount of information here that will literally transform your life and change your life forever. Commit the time to learn these things. All right. Again, we talk here about your personal paycheck protection program. You want to put yourself in that position of trying to develop your personal paycheck protection program. So 4 or 5 years from now, perhaps another pandemic will hit the world. We don't know, we can't predict it, but the reality is that you can't leave yourself exposed for it to happen. And what happened in late 2019, all of 2020, now we're in 2021 and that process continue. You expose, your family's exposed, you're going through kind of embarrassment because you have to depend on government handouts, you gotta depend on family handouts, you gotta depend on community handout for you to survive. You don't want to leave yourself exposed to that extent. So you need to start thinking now about your personal paycheck protection program. If you don't know how, I encourage you to reach out to us for a free consultation. Reach out to us at Global Capital Inc. for a free consultation that will help you to understand practical, appropriate, and immediate steps that you can take to start to build out your personal paycheck protection. All right. We're also talking to companies about the corporate cash flow protection. With companies, we're talking about cash flow protection because we know that many companies across the world, hundreds of thousands of companies across the world, they were forced to close their door. They were forced to close their door because many of them didn't expect a global pandemic to literally interrupt commerce and trade and literally interrupt their financial transactions. So their businesses were thrown off track. Cash flow begins to dry up. Now, what I want to say here again, we talk about the leadership love language. And when we talk about the leadership love language, it stands on three tenets, three pillars, three platforms. We talk about wealth leadership in the process of thinking ahead. So the question you must ask yourself in terms of developing your personal paycheck protection, were you thinking ahead? The question that you must think about as a corporate leader, were you thinking ahead when it comes to your corporate cash flow protection program? I don't have to answer that for you. You're smart enough to answer this. Were you thinking ahead about your corporate paycheck protection? And in thinking about it empowers you to start to take informed and practical steps to put these systems in place to cushion negative effects that are likely to come at you. Cushion those effects. You must put yourself in a position of strength to think ahead, to see beyond problems, and to take informed action to achieve desired results. You owe it to yourself. You owe yourself that much to understand the leadership love language and ensure that you're applying them day in and day out to every aspect of your life. We talk here also about a corporate paycheck protection program. Again, we see that many companies had to lay off hundreds of thousands and millions of employees across the world. They laid them off not because they wanted necessarily to lay them off, but they laid them off because to keep on those staff, it means they would have cut into the revenue. So many companies, they make a conscious business decision to lay off the workers, keep the reserve at a certain level, perhaps to get through this pandemic. And when they get through the pandemic, they can resurface, they can rebrand, they can relaunch, and perhaps do some rehiring. But while that decision has been made, the people that you call your staff, your team member, your family member, all of this we hear in corporate terms, they have been thrown under the bus. They feel as though the mic has been dropped on them. This is how they are feeling. We are doing the research, and this is what we are hearing. And I'm saying to you that there's a better way. There's a safer way. There is a more empathetic way that corporate leaders can do things to safeguard all of their employees, all of their employees. All right, those are some technical areas that we will get into when we are coming into the boots camp, when we are coming to your corporate entities to help you to build out these programs. We also talk about government paycheck protection program. We know that in the United States of America, we talk about this, they have those paycheck protection programs. They are developing those programs. But what we also have, and I clearly remember this while I was doing my studies at Cambridge International Program, we studied that there is something that we call unemployment benefits. Now, in the developed world, when the state cannot find a job for you, the state pays you. It's called unemployment benefits. Even in the developing economies, the NIS should be playing a role, but is the income transferred to the NIS under the type of asset management that allows it to have the cash flow and reserve to respond to these crises? In most cases, no. That is something that has to be looked at. But what we have done, the program in itself, it is designed to identify new, innovative, creative ways that provide the state with critical information that capital can be invested into high yield, safe, very low risk, because we don't deal with risk at all. We are risk averse. But it provides a platform and the portfolio to make smart investment that can cover paycheck protection program. Now, we have said this. Traditionally, Where does the government get capital from to expand into these areas? Perhaps through the NIS, and perhaps through, the revenues authorities, and perhaps through debt. But traditionally, if we look at the United States model, they take money from taxpayers, or they use print and digital currencies. All right, they use the press and they use digital currency. This is where we have a lot of issues and discussion around this, because the more you use the press, the more you use digital currency, it debases the value of the dollar, making it more so a weak fiat currency. But these are two platforms that are used. The platform that we are really interested in is finding capital, and I want to show you there are a number of ways in which you can find these capital. Capital that we're going to call the national, the annual rate, the practical term that I want to call it is the annual income rate, annual income cost. In other words, what I'm saying, is there a way for us to calculate the national cost for labor? The national cost for labor, both at the private sector and the public sector level. And we figure out a way to get that cost in advance of its payout, and we leverage it into asset management. Now, just let me quickly explain what comes under asset management. We have four essential portfolios that falls under asset management. You have SWF. That is clearly established that it is done. The SWF is the sovereign wealth fund. We have pension funds. We have insurance funds. And we have high net worth and super high net worth individual that put capital under these portfolios, under asset management. The range of investment platforms is tremendous. Perhaps you could identify safe ways of investment. Perhaps you could even identify local investment platform that to complement social, economical, and national development. But I'm saying that there's tremendous possibilities that are open. And when we are speaking specifically to our demographic, we will start to unlock some of those possibilities. And of course, we will have our subject matter expert from all around the Caribbean and the world to support us in speaking to these issues. As I said early on, we have a team of economists, we have a team of investment bankers, venture capitalists, private equity investors, certified public accountant, and legal team that are there to support this initiative. We are building this brand to be able to have a larger-than-life impact on the specific target market. So I really trust that you enjoyed today's program. Now, one of the key takeaways that you may be asking yourself is that you've listened to all of this. It still didn't give you the kind of information to change your financial circumstances. Perhaps you need some more. The last thing that I want to say to you that perhaps might speak directly to your limited income potential or dealing with your primary source of income being inadequate to live up to all of your future plans. The suggestion that I want to give to you is that we have designed a very unique program that we call GCI, Affiliate Marketing. This is a unique program designed by Global Capital Inc. to teach you affiliate marketing. And affiliate marketing, what it means is that you can work from your kitchen, your sitting room, your bedroom. You could work from home and make money. You can have your job, and learning affiliate marketing will put you in a position of strength to have multiple streams of income platforms available to you. It will enable you to make money when you sleep. This is a special program that we are prepared to teach you that can put, secondary stream of income into your hand and perhaps multiple streams of income in your hand. And if you are wondering how significant this is, I really want you to stop and think about it. COVID-19 has pushed the world into social media marketing, social media management. The amount of traffic and sales that is taking place now via social media is tremendous. So this is one of the platforms that we will train you to go on, all right, to identify strong brands, to represent strong brands by identifying specific target market and ensuring that you can position your brand in front of the specific target market that is most likely to buy from you. So when we finish training you this, we're going to train you also to become what we call a GCI, affiliate manager program. We will train you to become a manager. The manager has 5 essential roles that you must understand. You must be able to set clear goals, set an objective and planning. You must be able to organize resources to achieve the objective, human, technical, and financial resources. You must be able to coordinate activities. Every single activity that you're going to be doing must be clearly identified and properly coordinated. You must be able to communicate with and motivate your team. You want to ensure that you have a highly motivated workforce. And let's talk about your corporate culture. We talk a lot about this. You want to build out a corporate culture that has impact at 3 levels. You want to impact the internal workforce. You want to impact the specific target market. You want to impact the general public. You want to make larger life impact on these people. Last but not least, you want to put yourself in a position of strength where you can measure and control performance towards the goals and objectives that you set for yourself. You want to take ownership over your business ideas, ownership over your life, over the ownership over your financial projections. You want to take ownership over this. So again, I trust you would have enjoyed today's program. Today we look at a number of interested concepts and on this unique program that we call 10X Wealth Leadership Bootcamp. Now, in looking at 10X Wealth Leadership Bootcamp, there are 3 important lessons that we dig deep into were what we call the wealth love language, leadership love language, and we also examine income audit analytics. All right, so I trust that you really enjoyed today's program. We give you a lot of information. Remember, you should get signed up right now for the affiliate marketing program. Learn how you can leverage this program to create a secondary source of income and possibly multiple streams of income. All right, we will train you and we will literally put you to work as your own boss. You're not working for us. We don't empower people to work for us. We empower people to become their own bosses. All right, so I want to encourage you to reach out to us for a free consultation. Get registered for these advanced programs. All right, so be blessed. Remember, we are in a period of COVID-19. I want to encourage you to protect yourself, protect your loved ones, and protect those around you. All right, you owe that much to yourself and the people that you love and the people around you. My name is Gary Thompson. I'm a business development consultant by profession. I'm a humanitarian by nature, and I'm the multiple best-selling author for several books, including Manager's Toolkit and billionaire quote. And in 2021, later this year, I will launch my new book titled Managers 10X Branding and Marketing, The Psychology of Business. It's a beautiful book. In this book, you learn how to grab attention, how to pique interest, how to arouse desire, how to get the customer into action. Once you get them into action, is how to make impact. And once you make an impact, is how to convert first-time users into lifetime customers, and so much more. All right, so be blessed, and I want to encourage you to like and subscribe and share this podcast within your network so we can reach as much people as possible. Be blessed and see you soon.